here's what's coming up next on the Create Happy Now podcast with the return of one of my VIP guests, Vaughn Pierro. She is a healer and a breathwork specialist. Today we will be talking about breathwork and how it can take you to the next level of happiness.
Understand that when you say yes to yourself, say yes to your dreams and desires, then it just opens up a whole new, you're aligned, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And when we take action on that wisdom and we're aligned and exactly where we're supposed to be, or at least headed in that direction. And that's when all these opportunities open to take care of other people. Because at the end of the day, serving others is the number one key to happiness.
Welcome to the Create Happy Now podcast, dedicated to helping you start your journey to discover true happiness. Join me, your host, Susan Blanton, weekly as we explore the transformation stories and words of wisdom from our masters of happiness with tips you can start applying today to create happy now. I have Vaughn Pierro back on the show, and I want to do a little deeper dive with her. I'm really fascinated with what she does, and I think you will too. Vaughn is a breathwork practitioner and energy healer. She calls herself a spirit mama. She specializes in breathwork, teaching you the tools and importance of taking care of and being a mother to your own spirit and letting a healing transformation happen. Welcome back to the show. So tell us a little bit more about your journey and kind of you had started, I remember we talked about you felt like you were functioning happy, and take it from there.
Yes. So yes. Hi. Thank you for having me back. I'm so excited to be with you again. So let's see. I was functioning happy. Oprah asked me, how am I doing, or what's my dream? And I was like, wait, I don't have a dream. And that began my awakening journey, my personal growth journey. And through that, I just realized I had a lot of work to do on myself, that I had a lot of limiting beliefs. I had a lot of stuck emotion and energy, and I was stagnant. I was stagnant in my life, in my everything.
So what were some of those limiting beliefs? So see if anybody else listening might go, oh, got it. I'm there.
Yeah. The biggest one, it was interesting because I am a self-confident person. So I never thought about self-worth being an issue because I confused the two. Mm-hmm. But once I dove a little deeper, I was like, wow, I am very limiting on my self-worth. I did not value myself and what I believed and what I wanted and what I needed. I did not value myself, love myself enough to take action on all those things that my heart desired. And it could be as simple as the most simple, happy thing, like always just putting everyone else's needs and desires before my own. They were more important than myself.
Yeah. I think we tend to do that a lot as women, right?
Yes, absolutely. And, along with that comes, your self-worth and your self-love is attached to literally everything. Mm-hmm. And so, money, guilt, every decision that you make, are you making it for yourself? Or are you making it for someone else? Are you being a victim? Or are you not being the victim? Are you, it really boiled down to being responsible for your own happiness. And
yes.
that was like, oh, wow.
That was a big bang on the head, wasn't it? That was a huge one for me. And you're not responsible for anybody else's either.
Oh, yes, exactly. Teaching is like mind blown. Wait, what?
Mind blown.
Okay, I'm not responsible for everyone else's happiness. Oh my goodness. It's literally like a mind. When you fully understand and grasp that, it's literally mind blowing.
Freedom.
And you're like, oh, wow.
It's
Freedom,
freedom.
yes. But when you realize that is when the real work begins. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's, and it is work. Oh my goodness. I mean, a healing journey, well, first of all, it never ends.
Mm-hmm.
And second of all, it's a lot of work.
It's work in the beginning, but as soon as you see things unfold, you're like, okay, I want to do another one. I want to get rid of another limiting belief. Oh, I got rid of that one.
Yes.
That will work. What else is in there? It's like cleaning out a closet and you get started, or you're cleaning out your
Oh
sock
yeah, you're
drawer and you
going
end up
deep.
doing all of the drawers, right? And
Yes,
then you get going
that's
on the house and then you just keep going and going. Yeah. And it's never ending. But then when it gets to the point where it's like, it's a passion, you're like, ooh, it can get better, like exponentially forever.
yep.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm on.
At this point in the game, I it's not that I judge everything at all. That's not the right word,
Yeah.
but I'm so aware of when things trigger me now, when I'm not happy. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, well, what is this really about? Because if it's a trigger, obviously it's something that needs attention, and I
Yeah.
need to figure out how I can work on this and see it through love and heal this trigger. So it's that's when I say it's never ending. It's because it does get easier, like you say, because it just becomes more of a conscious behavior because you're so aware of your happiness.
Right. And like with those triggers, I mean, that's a good point because if you are aware of triggers, because they're not coming up as often anymore. So when they come up,
Right.
you're like, oh, there you are. Hello. You
Uh-huh.
can either, if you're like, I can't figure out like where this is coming from, you can at least have the wherewithal to go get a coach or someone that you know could help walk you through it. Or you might be at a level where you can really deep into your own intuition and figure it out
Yes.
internally.
Yes. Yeah, that awareness it's everything, and that is exactly what it is, awareness and taking responsibility for your happiness. Yeah.
Absolutely. So now you had said you're a spirit mama. So tell us
Yes.
what that means.
So I shared in a post one day, I was like, if you're a mama, you know how much you love your child. And it's like, of course.
Right.
Everybody knows a mother's love for their child.
Right.
That is how we're supposed to love ourselves. Like, we are supposed to love ourselves that much. And that is so uncomfortable. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
even saying it out loud, I feel like people are like, no way are we supposed to love ourselves as much as we love our children. Like, that's wrong. But it's true. We are. And so it just, and me, I just call the spirit mama because I am able to um, connect with other people's spirits, like being a healer. I just have this ability now to be able to connect in that way. And I'm a Cancer baby, so I'm
Me
such
too.
oh, you are? Yes. So,
Mhm.
naturally we are such nurturers and caregivers. And so it just, I was ready to be a mom since I could remember. And so now that I'm working with people in this way, I just absolutely thought it was totally appropriate because I just love to love on people. But more importantly, it's teaching people the tools of how to mother themselves, how to nurture themselves, how to care for themselves, because the way we love ourselves is the way that we love anyone else. And that's a really hard concept for people to understand.
I think it's hard because we were raised to not be selfish and not be vain. And so we think that those kinds of self-love attitudes is more of being selfish or vain, and it's not. It's yeah, I mean, our bodies, our spirit, our mind is the only thing we're going to have our entire lifetime guaranteed. So we need to take care of that so we can take care of others, right?
Yes, yes, yes. It's so beautiful to allow ourselves to connect in that way with ourselves so that we can connect with others in that way. It just is such a hard concept to understand. But once you grasp it, it's like once you get past the uncomfortable part. And honestly, I am more selfish at this phase in my life than, selfish is not as selfish is really self-care and self-love. But I mean, it doesn't feel selfish anymore. But in the beginning, it felt very selfish. But it's funny because now that I take care of myself first, I have so much more love to give to. I mean, I am now that I'm in this place 3 years later, I am pouring into so many more people than I was before, and so it's so true. Like when you can understand that when you say yes to yourself, say yes to your dreams and desires, then it just opens up a whole new, you're aligned, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And you're honoring all of the wisdom that is pulsing through you. And when we take action on that wisdom, that's when we're connected to, and we're aligned and exactly where we're supposed to be, or at least headed in that direction. And that's when all these opportunities open to take care of other people, because at the end of the day, that's what we all want to do. We all want to, serving others is the number one key to happiness. And that's at the root of, that's what we all want to do, is serve others. But we have to be our happy selves before, and loving selves to be able to pour into others.
Absolutely. And, a lot of people that are like you, they've gone through their journey and they didn't really continue on doing what they were doing before. They jumped into serving others and helping them with their journey to happiness.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm a perfect example of that. I was a massage therapist for over 20 years, and it served me well because I was taking care of others in that way, and I was very happy. But I along that road, I had no like I mentioned, my self-worth was very low. So I never said no to a client. Anytime a client needed me, oh, you need me, I'm here for you. Okay. Because I totally sacrificed myself for everyone else. And along the way, I just was exhausted and I worked my butt off, and I never charged appropriately. And just because that's what you do when you're not
Aligned.
when you don't have clear self-worth and self-love boundaries. Yeah.
Boundaries. That's what's really huge is, when you tend to be a people pleaser, we kind of learn that trait. Who we say we're yes woman, right? Will you
Yeah.
do this? Yes. Will you do this? Yes. Okay, sure. Why not? I really can't, but okay anyway. Instead, creating those boundaries to protect yourself and your own energies, and it's I think is huge. It does make you, I guess, stronger.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Boundaries, what that was the hardest part, truly, in the very beginning, because I was still practicing massage therapy. And when I realized that I had no boundaries and I wanted to start creating them and taking more responsibility for my life, that's when I was like, whoa, why does this feel so uncomfortable to tell this person, I'm sorry, I'm not available today? Or, whoa, why does it feel so uncomfortable to say, this is what I'm going to start charging now? Those were the things that when you start setting up when you start practicing personal growth habits, and new routines into your life, that's when the healing work begins, because you're like, whoa, why does this feel uncomfortable?
yeah.
And then it's like a deep dive. It's like, whoa, I didn't realize I was carrying all that around.
Right. And that is really important, that we address that sometimes when you are creating these boundaries, you'll get pushback, especially from people who are used to you saying yes to everything.
Oh my goodness. Yes. That is that's a huge important aspect. When I work with my clients now, one-on-one especially, they always say, well, what if my husband or partner or kids, they don't understand, And I'm like, well, as you grow, you're going to be growing and expanding and evolving. And I love the expression of, when you allow your light to shine, it gives permission to everyone around you for their light to shine. So that's our biggest hope, is that when you step fully into your light and your happiness, and you start making these shifts, that other people will be like, oh gosh, she's really thriving right now. I want to do what she's doing. I want my light to shine like that. And it just, you hope that that's the impact that it's going to have. And honestly, in my life, it's been kind of half and half. I've definitely lost some relationships that were like, whatever, it's a little too much, bye Vaughn. and that's totally okay. But then I've made all these other relationships, and then other people in my life that have been like, oh yes, like, and coming along, and just being like, oh, this feels really good. Because it's so true, when you allow yourself to be you, without the guilt, without the shame, without the fear, it really is contagious.
Right, it is. And what I wanted to ask you too, so you know how, like, when you are in the phase before you kind of, I guess what you said, wake up,
Mm-hmm.
you have dramas, you're pulled here and you're pulled there. How does the level of drama appear in your life in contrast?
So, like, how it was then versus now.
Or even how you react to it?
So yeah, that's a great question. I mean, before, I've always been a pretty chill kind of girl, but I would definitely be easily triggered. It was very easy for me to get caught up in the excitement of, like, what's going on, how can I fix it, that whole thing. And now there's just literally no space in my life, because I'm so aware of my energy and what I bring into it, what I allow into my energy space, and what I give out. It's like you just are so much more protective, and you just value that space that is yours, and you just have a very clear idea of what works for you and what doesn't. You just become so much more confident and comfortable with what makes you feel amazing and what makes you feel not amazing. And when you are on this journey, you're like, I choose me. I choose my happiness, and I'm not going to let that person bring me down. I'm not going to let this drain me. So again, it goes back to boundaries and honoring your own self-worth.
Or even notice that you're not attracting it anymore as
Oh
much.
yeah, very true. Because yeah, it's so true. It's like there's this certain shift within your energy, that because what you put out is what you get back energetically.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a huge point. Yes, that's a very beautiful point.
So tell us what your favorite quote is.
Oh, I say this in every single one of my classes. When you heal 7 generations before you, you are healing 7 generations after you. And, we carry so much stuff. We carry our own stuff. We carry our mama's stuff, our daddy's stuff, our grandma, great grandma, like just generations
Handed down.
before us. I mean, we really do carry those beliefs and those mindsets. And now that there's such an awareness, I feel like, in generational healing and pain that we carry, and knowing that we can, that it is, for me, it was my responsibility to heal myself, so that I can heal my children. I have 2 daughters, and I could see patterns that I was carrying through my life that I was putting onto my children, like around money and boundaries and status and all that stuff. And just really not wanting that to be, I wanted my girls to have complete freedom to, here I was preaching to them, like, be yourself, do exactly what makes your heart happy. But I wasn't doing the same thing. So that was really, it wasn't fair for me to do that to them. And I could see that I was, and that was a huge part of me that, um, that encouraged my healing journey, what were my daughters, and just really looking at them and their children. And through my own healing journey, like so much stuff with my mom. I mean, and I'm the oldest of 5, and just witnessing everyone, it's not that I'm changing my family, but my actions and my beliefs are helping to shift the family's actions and mindsets and beliefs. It's literally changing the course. It's changing our DNA.
It definitely is changing your DNA, and there's definitely a ripple there, but there's also a ripple by just being around other people. And you don't even know you may be making a change, a ripple effect with someone else. Either you inspired them or you helped them, or they just, just your energy around them may affect them in some way.
Yes, that's so true. I mean, gosh, I can just think of so many people. Well, Oprah, her just asking that simple question. I was like, oh, what? And think, her triggering that within me. It probably would have happened sooner or later, but that question really got me going. So you're exactly right. It's just like you never know what thing that you're saying or your actions that are going to resonate with someone on that level.
That's awesome. Yeah. So tell us what the listeners can benefit from listening in to you today and where they can find you.
Well, I'm just so passionate about sharing my story, because um, I know what it's like to be happy, and then I know what it's like to be thriving and really, really, really happy.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I understand that difference, that is what I want for everyone. I want them to shed the layers of just the layers and layers of gunk that we hold on to that are so heavy on us, and feel free.
Lighter.
And it takes work. Yeah, it takes work to peel away those layers. And my favorite modality has been breath work. I mean, that has been the tool that has helped me really literally shed so many layers of pain that I didn't even know existed, generational and current. And so it's just really important to connect to your mind, body, spirit, and allow yourself, just listen to I just want to encourage everyone to get out of your own way and to connect to yourself on a deeper level. Don't be scared of yourself, of your body, because I know I was for so long. I never went that deep within. I would, I was a very connected person. Like, I love quiet time. I read books. I would meditate. I say that with quotation marks, but it wasn't until I really, really, truly got out of my own way that I was able to receive so much beautiful guidance. Yeah.
So what do you have to offer for the listeners?
Oh, yes. So I have a breathe into your chakras meditation, and it's so beautiful. It involves breath work and chakras, our energy centers, which those are my jam things right there. And so when we combine the two of breathing into our chakras, it is so beautiful and so powerful. And so I have a 15-minute breathwork chakra meditation for you. And it's on my website at vaughnpierro.com.
Can you spell that out for me?
Yes, it is VAUGHNPIERRO, Vaughn Pierro. And then I'm that same name at Facebook and Instagram.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And I definitely would love to have you back and we can talk some more because it's such a delight to be with you in person. You have such energy and you're so loving. You're a mama. You're a spirit mama. And
You are too.
and so, I wish you well, and I know we will be connecting again soon. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Susan, for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for listening to episode 15 of the Create Happy Now podcast with Vaughn Pierro. If you like today's episode, please subscribe, rate, and review, and you can get a free meditation by yours truly by going to the link in the episode description as my thanks to you. On our next show, Christine Cataggio will be back. Christine Cataggio is a transformational coach who helps her clients redesign their life. We will be talking about how her vision mapping and her intuitive coaching helps her clients actually peel away their beliefs and dig into their subconscious desires.